Ballantyne here, and we are on video 58. Today I was out, well, nearly all day doing gardening, and it's that March, April time where we need to get out into the garden and start doing some work. And it's a dirty job. That's what you put your welly boots on, you get your tools out, and excuse me a moment, get your tools out and get the compost sorted out, and get the soils ready for potting, and get the seeds in for the new growth. And that's what I was doing today, and I'm actually a hobbyist for bonsai, and bonsai take a lot of care and attention, but for the past 2 years my bonsais have sort of sat unattended because I've been busy with a lot of other things in building up the property and the house. Today I got stuck in and gave them a thorough going over, and got all the soil ready, got all the tools ready, and I removed them from their pots. And now when I say pots, I don't mean little bonsai pots. I'm talking about massive trays, because my bonsais are rather large in design. And it meant literally just taking them out of the pots and then attacking all the weeds and growth and all the extra roots that the massive root balls, should I say, had to be all sort of scraped out and cut and trimmed, and then put the whole thing back together. And then I start on the tree and start bending the branches and cutting back and turning it around and looking at this and looking at that, and cleaning the whole thing up and making it looking hopefully spectacular before the leaves come out, when the leaves come out. And that's what I did most of the day. I also did some bulb planting, and I also had a rockery I've been building, and I've sort of been doing some designing on that as well. And by the end of the day I was done my job, and I looked down at my fingers, and they were, well, not my fingers, well, my fingers and my hands were just totally covered in mud and dirt, and fingernails all blocked up and all this kind of stuff, which is quite normal. Well, unless you're wearing gloves, but you can't wear gloves all the time. And then I got to thinking, this is just like multi-level marketing. I think I'm going to call this video Gardening MLM, because Gardening MLM is the same as gardening, and I'll explain why. I just want to carry on with the gardening bit though. I do love gardening, but it can be frustrating, or I create the frustrations myself, because when I look at something and design it, or think about an idea and do this and do that, I am probably your worst enemy to come around to your garden and design it for you, because what will happen is that I'll put the mountain over there, and then 2 weeks later I'll decide to put it over there. That's who I am. Nothing ever just stays where it should be. It has to be right. There is a funny episode in our growth of building our garden here that my wife wanted a windy path. I can't tell you how many times that windy path moved, left, right a bit, forward a bit, back a bit. Eventually we got it in place, and I was never in control of that one. My wife was in control. I want the windy path like so. That's it. Anyway, the joys of gardening. But get back to MLM, it's the same thing. You're going to be doing things that you don't like. You're going to get frustrated because the results are not coming in. You're going to have to clean up your act when things are not going right. You've got to look for ways and answers to solve any issues or problems you have, and if it means going to your upline or talk to a friend or somebody else in the business to get some ideas to help you along. Because one of the greatest things I've noticed about a lot of multi-level marketers is frustration, but the other word is another one is pondering and indecision. How many times I've watched people or spoken to people who have sat on something, not just for days, not for weeks, but months. And if I want to find something about gardening, I can quickly go into Google and I get the answer immediately. I don't have to be frustrated with anything or ponder or sit on anything because the answer's on Google. And I have said to many people over and over and over again, if you don't know, ask. Because I have 100% all the time, when I got asked the question that they've been stuck with for ages, answered it in seconds. Job done. All right. You know, it's like gardening, multi-level marketing, you can follow the concepts and ideas, rules of your company. That's great. You do all that kind of stuff. But all of us have to do marketing. You've got to know how to market. You've got to know how to garden. Okay? You've got to go and find the sources, ideas, and in some case revelations, and get out there and make that garden work. You cannot, a garden itself needs constant work throughout the year, maybe not so much through winter, but in multi-level marketing, you've always got to be at it. I would say 24/7, but when I say 24/7, I mean we are talking the hours of maybe 2-3 hours a day. 2 or 3 hours a day, maybe 7 days a week, maybe 6 days a week. Okay. So when I say 24/7, what I mean is when you're working on those hours, put the equivalent of 24 hours into it. Get the work done. Get it sorted out. Okay. Get automated. Get everything planned out before you delve into it. So like the garden, you're going to plan this, you're going to do that, this is what you're going to be doing. Okay. Doesn't work for me like that all the time because, like I said, I'm a bit of an indecisive person when it comes to the garden, and the same thing with my businesses. I tend to go in a direction and thought, hang on a minute, is that advisable? Is that the right way to do it? Do I need to get an answer from somebody else to see if it's right? Who else is doing exactly the same thing? You know, is this the right way to make compost? I don't know. I'll just double check with somebody else. So, and it's not that you get dirty with multi-level marketing. It's a very clean business. It's a mental business, and if you're working online, that is. And there's a lot of things going in here that you need to sort out in multi-level marketing. you know, there's all the book reading, there's all the listening to calls from whatever company you may be in. There's videos to watch. There's PDFs to download. There's things you got to keep memos and ideas of, and keep folders on your desktop, and keep yourself organized there, because there's nothing worse than having a screen full of and I've seen screens full of icons that I can't see the desktop background, and I love putting files on my desktop so I know that's that business, that's that business, that's that business, and everything's contained and gardened properly. You know, everything's been planted properly. And so organization is also very important when you're in MLM. So yeah, I don't think there's much more I can say about it, really. Treat your multi-level marketing business as you would your garden. Neat, tidy, beautiful, nicely set up. You know where everything is. You know what that is. You know what that is. You know where that's going, and and you've always got your book of ideas and things you want to do for next year. Because you're the same in our business. We know what we want the garden to be looking like next year, so we plan for it. So we're going to make goals for our business as well. We're going to write them down, and this is what we're going to do to go towards it, etc., etc. So there's a lot of similarities in what we do in our lives. We could pick up other subjects as well, but I just thought about gardening and MLMs just by looking down my fingernails and thinking, you know, this is not my profession, it's a hobby. And MLM is not it's not a hobby, although it's part-time, which is enjoyable as gardening is. Anyway, don't want to waffle on anymore, do we? Okay, I think we'll call it on that one. Keep a nice clean garden. See you tomorrow, guys.